Exodus 2, Moses. And there went a man out of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him for 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took him for an ark of bushes, and an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river brink. And his sister stood afar off, to wit what would be done to him. The daughter of the Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to the Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go call thee a nursery of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child of thee for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and she became her son, and she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those many days, when Moses was grown, that he went unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brethren, and he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And when he went out on the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, For where smite thou thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee the prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared, and said, Surely this thing is known. Now, when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of the Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Now, the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs of the water to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, The Egyptian delivered us out to the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man. And he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bare him a son. And he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt, died. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. And God hearing their groaning, and God remembering his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, with Jacob, and God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respected unto them. Wow. Wow. Exodus 2 tracks the transition from Israel's collective national nightmare to the emergence of the chosen deliverer. The context is a state-sponsored genocide. Pharaoh has commanded that every new Hebrew male be thrown into the Nile River. In this chapter, we watch God silently hijack Pharaoh's own household to raise a deliverer, and then smash that deliverer's human pride through 40 years of wilderness isolation. The narrative opens inside a terrified home belonging to the priestly tribe of Levi. A man and women, later identified as Aram and Jochebed, give birth to a beautiful, healthy boy. For 3 months, his mother successfully hides him from the Egyptian vigilante squads. But when the baby grows too loud, she executes a desperate, brilliant act of compliance and defiance. The Pharaoh's law is that the baby must be placed into the Nile River. The loophole, Jacoby builds a tiny tiba, or ark, out of bulrushes and waterproofs it with pitch and places the boy inside and sets it into the Nile. The basket drifts directly into the private royal bathing pools of Pharaoh's daughter. She spots the basket, opens it, and the baby begins to cry. Instantly filled with compassion, she recognized the child's identity. This is one of the Hebrew children. The baby's older sister, Miriam, who is watching from the reeds, boldly steps out of the bushes and offers a logistical solution. I shall go and call thee a nurse of Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee. Pharaoh's daughter agrees. In a staggering twist of divine irony, the baby's biological mother is hired by the royal family, paid out of the state treasury, and given full legal protection to raise and breastfeed her own son. When the boy grows older, she brings him back to the place where Pharaoh's daughter adopts him as her own son and names him Moses, which means drawn out, because I drew him out of the water. Moses grows up inside the apex. Moses grows up inside the apex of world luxury, educated in all the wisdom of military tactics of the Egyptian elite. But at 40 years old, he walks out of the palace to audit the construction zones and witness the grueling bondage of his biological people. He spots an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating a Hebrew slave. Believing no one is watching, Moses unleashes his elite training, kills the Egyptian on the spot, and buries the corpse in the sand. I didn't know he had elite training. I guess Moses had some hands. The next day, he steps into the field and tries to break up a fight between two Hebrew men. When Moses rebukes the aggressor, the man fires back a chilling defensive question. Who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou kill me as thou killed the Egyptian? Moses panics, realizing his covert execution is public knowledge. When Pharaoh catches wind of the murder, he signs a death warrant for Moses. stripping him of his royal status and hunted by the state, Moses flees the borders of Egypt and runs out into the vast, unforgiving eastern wilderness of Midian, modern-day Saudi Arabia. Moses sits down by a well in Midian. He rescues the daughters of a local priest named Jethro from bullying shepherds. Jethro invites him into his tent. Hands his daughter Zipporah in marriage and gives him a job. The royal prince of Egypt spends the next 40 years walking behind sheep in the dirt. He names his firstborn son Gershom, meaning a stranger there, declaring, "I have been a stranger in a strange land." God completely dismantles his political pride and human self-reliance. The chapter closes by shifting the camera back down into the iron furnace of Egypt. 4 decades have passed. The old paranoid Pharaoh dies, but the institutional system of slavery rolls on, right on. The final verse drops a heavy, highly strategic theological progression that sets up the rest of the Exodus epic. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage, and they cried, and their cries came up unto God. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. The 4 full verbs, heard, remembered, looked, and had respect, prove that God's silence is not absence. The stage is now perfectly set for chapter 3, where God remembers his covenant, is about to step down into the dirt and break 4 centuries of silence out of the blazing desert bush. Ooh, is this where the burning bush comes in? All right.